Yo, what is good, everybody? What is good, yo? That time I got reincarnated as a slime. I'm gonna say this now, and I'm gonna say this proud. If you aren't watching this show and you thought you should just drop it because of the title or because of the first episode or two episodes, please leave the channel and go evaluate your idea of anime because this anime is absolutely going in right now. There's so many good ideas that I was hoping they would know that they have in their repertoire. Like I was just expecting them to do things that they know they can do, but then for them to remember the smaller details of their own show, it goes to show you that whoever is writing this slash whoever's on top of animating it, they are doing an excellent job because with the Storm Dragon being inside of Rim, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna probably jump to like the end of this, but with the Storm Dragon being inside of Rim, and when it left, everybody went into like a crazy, like, oh my God, what the heck? Where could this dragon have gone? Who could have released it? Blah, blah, blah. Um, it turned into a big ordeal. So for me, that tells me that, this dragon was a huge deal or like a huge threat to people who, didn't necessarily could fight him and they wanted people to take him out for him. So to see Ifrit's face, and I have told you guys, Ifrit is a huge, huge name. And someone else in the comments of the last time when I mentioned Ifrit is definitely from some other type of mythos, but that they're probably going off of uh, just by the way he's being used. But if you guys actually go and look at Final Fantasy 15 and all the other Final Fantasy, 15 is probably the best example though. They look almost identical, okay? And that's because Ifrit is a well-known overall fire demon god. Like he is just the fire lord of a lot of stories that people should really be getting into. If you really liked Ifrit this episode, or you just thought he was like crazy powerful, this is probably the one of the more weaker Ifrits I've ever seen, if not the weakest Ifrit. Um, Not only was he weak because of probably he was forcing himself outside of Sisuku's body, our wifey. Um, he was forcing himself to be able to have control, to be able to become that transformation. I think if it was more of a natural give and take, he probably would have more strength. But as we saw right now, another reason why he didn't have strength is just because I was like, why is the slime freaking out when we all, as like the smart audience that actually watch the show and enjoy it, we all knew he had heat resistance and he's in there screaming and crying and writing his will pretty much in his head. Like he's like, oh, I'm dead, and it was such a short slime. Like instead of life, it was like a slime or something like that. I can't, I read it, but there's no way I knew how to pronounce that, which was hilarious. But man, I am so happy that when he used the predator skill, it's almost like his predator skill has upgraded probably because of the dragon inside of him. Because who in the heck thought that the predator skill was just going to be able to remove Ifrit like that? So maybe like other people were saying when I was talking to him in the comments, sorry I forgot your username, but when Rim also got a name, I'm pretty sure, it definitely elevated him because as you see in this week's episode, anybody and anywhere can give a monster a name and it's going to have some type of effect, right? But the whole thing is once that little fox or whatever got his name, he only got so much bigger compared to someone like the wolf that became like a tempest, a wind user, and all this stuff. So it's absolutely ridiculous to think of the power that could come with some of these like names that they're giving these creatures, and to think that the slime is so powerful that when he gives them a name, they actually like evolve. They don't just grow a little bit taller or something like that. So that should kind of tell you the perspective slash strength that they've already given to the slime. He had a good amount starting out before even taking the dragon in and getting a name. But after getting the name and then using Predator just to hold him in, he is absolutely like skyrocketed in my opinion. With Ifrit being inside of him as well, that's a good chance that he could have learned tons and tons of fire. He could also have learned how to maybe possess a body. Um, there's a lot of things that could have came with the absorption of this guy, and to think that we're not even going to really touch upon it this week kind of sucks, but at the same time, like, come on, what do you expect at this point? So, um, we pretty much just got the short end of the fight when it came down to the overall ending of the fight. But the fight in itself was absolutely hype. I couldn't imagine them going any other route until they actually had the girl spit out, but Ifrit was still inside. Uh, I hope they explain that next week a little bit, but other than that, man, it was pretty rough to see her being taken over by Ifrit. So to know that she might be free from Ifrit, um, it might also make her one of the weaker heroes, weaker summon heroes out there, simply because she's lost her power of that, that familiar or whatever. So, um, it's interesting now that she probably wouldn't even be welcomed back by the guy, or she would be welcomed back just so he can see where the heck Ifrit went, because even Ifrit himself can't do anything inside of the slime. So it's like either since that guy, and remember, the guy who put Ifrit inside the girl, he does not look human whatsoever, okay? That is someone who is not necessarily human, but has somewhat of a form of a human. His eyes are slit like dragon eyes. So he could be one of the dragons, and he could have learned how to transform into a human or something like that. I'm not sure. Because the only reason why I say he could be a dragon is because look at Ifrit's face. Look at Ifrit, man. He looks terrified, bro. If I was Ifrit and I got trapped in a belly of a slime and there was a giant freaking dragon inside, I am crying, okay? I am crying for my mama, including when it comes down to the dragon not being afraid of him. I mean, if you think about it, he did fight the hero, and she didn't use a fire spell to defeat him. She used or I guess it wasn't even her from what I'm hearing. Like, whatever happened in that dragon battle happened even further back in time because he's been stuck there for 300 years, and she's only been here for like 50 or something like that. So people have already, tried to exclose that she is not the one to trap the dragon, but he clearly knows Ifrit, so maybe back in those times as well, Ifrit was still a highly used familiar by whoever went against him and stuff like that. So it's all in the air, in my opinion. I truly can't wait to see what people are feeling about this week's episode. It is absolutely hype. My girl is OP. But now with Ifrit out of her, I really want to know where this kind of leaves her. What could be her real strength now? What is her goals now? I mean, I'm guessing it's going to be to repay the slime for saving her life. And seeing the slime use icicle shotgun this week was so dirty. So dirty. So we're still very far in the series. Like there's not even halfway through. Thanks, shout out to everybody who found out how many episodes there actually were. Because I've been doing reviews with the thought process of 12 episodes, kind of like Goblin Slayer. So to know that that is not the case, man, I am so hype. Everybody get hype in the comments. If you aren't subscribed here, I don't know why you aren't subscribed yet. I am going to be dropping the most honest and most content I can possible. Golden Kamui was the other thing that I had on my list today. So if you do want to see more from me today, there will be another upload. Golden Kamui, episode 6, later today. So make sure you guys are subscribed if you do want to see that. Overall, though, man, I lost it this week with this episode. This episode was so good. It was amazing. I just, man, um, seeing the Venturers trying to help and protect all these monsters, not even protect them, but trying to get the girl back to her normal form, and that not really doing anything, and then it all leads up to the point of, you know, them getting slapped and being taken far away. It just goes to show you that they understand who is trash and who is not. And by being trash, there's not much they can use your character for. Besides, like the girl who shot out the icicle, which I didn't think it was gonna work. The way I was thinking, I was like, man, he can't just get the icicle ability unless he like eats her staff or something. And then he literally just ate the magic attack that came at him. So that made me question why he wasn't trying to absorb any of the fire attacks. Maybe because it's actually realistic or something. And no, he's done Black Lightning, okay, but he did have to turn into the wolf form to do the Black Thunder. Any move that seemingly isn't water, he has to imitate or mimic the person that could do it. So, um, I think that's a pretty good sign of, you know, them understanding that, hey, he should be using like water, ice, and like rain or something, you know, like he can't just, oh my god, I can't believe I did that. He can't just go and be using fire 24/11, you know, so, or unless he's gonna mimic Ifrit now and turn into him, which would be crazy. Or maybe this is a reason why he can turn into a different like humanish form. It's because Ifrit was the girl still at that point, and by absorbing her and spitting her out, that means he learned all the information about her to separate her from Ifrit, in my opinion. So let's learn more about slime next week. Make sure you guys are here to see that if you do want that from me. If you want it from someone else, I hope you guys do enjoy their content, and I hope they give you that honestness like how I do, because I'm in love with this show. One of my favorite shows of whatchamacallit, of 2018, period. Um, Including with them just throwing in this dragon at the end, man. That was beautiful. Okay, you don't just have giant monsters inside of people and then you take someone else there and then they don't do anything. They show up and they put it down. Could you imagine fighting someone in a closed space that you know you can't escape? You already try to use your fire to escape, to maybe even see if your fire just trails out and leaves somewhere, and it doesn't. And now you have a giant dragon that you might have to fight for eternal life if you can't die in there, you know? Like, oh my god, bro. So dope. So with that being said, I gotta get out of here, man. I gotta stop. I will go on forever. If you guys want a video where I just go off on this anime and I just talk about every single thing I like, I have a video about 7 Deadly Sins before I did the overview of it. I have 2 7 Deadly Sins that I pretty much get to talk like that because I've seen all of it. I just went back and watched the dub. So if you guys do want something like that from me and you like it or you don't know about it, go check out my 7 Deadly Sins, and I'm gonna probably do the same thing for this series. An over review of all of it, just every single thing that happened that I noticed or that really caught my eye and I enjoyed. So make sure you guys check out the 7 Deadly Sins videos to know how that might come out and look. So if you do like it, let me know in the comments, or if I should just stick to the normal reviews, let me know. So with that, everybody, thank you so much for the support. I am the Anime G, and I hope you enjoyed your day, night, morning, whatever the case, and I will talk to you in the next one. So, peace.